Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to No DQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and No DQ&A videos affiliate, RingsideNews.com. This is the post Fastlane edition of No DQ&A video. Got your questions here from spring.me/Aaron Rift regarding Fastlane. Everybody asking me about the pay-per-view, what I thought. Overall, I thought it was a decent show, not a great show. There were some issues. I felt that WWE did a good job in establishing the main event matches for WrestleMania. Roman Reigns beat Daniel Bryan clean. I figured that would happen. Made sense to try and go with Roman Reigns all the way by having him beat Bryan and have Bryan endorse Roman Reigns. We'll see if it works. We'll see if the fans get behind Roman Reigns or if they continue to boo him. And if they continue to boo him, there's always the option to turn him heel. So I thought the main event was good, and the rest of the show was a mixed bag, but I'll get to more on Fastlane in a second. Check out NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding Fastlane and WrestleMania 31. I will be there in the Bay Area for WrestleMania 31 coverage, so stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all that. Let's get down to the questions here. First one today comes from San Gaffey. So the crowd at WWE Fastlane was pretty atrocious, barely making any noise, especially with the Triple H and Sting segment, which I felt really hurt the segment. Why do you think the crowd was so bad? I'm not really sure. I mean, sometimes you just don't get a good crowd. I mean, this was clearly a very mixed crowd in terms of the age differences and the kids being there, females. You had very much a variety of people. It wasn't like the Royal Rumble crowd where it was your adult male wrestling smart mark crowd. It was more of your casual audience. But yeah, this crowd, for whatever reason, just didn't make a lot of noise. I don't know if they were mic'd properly, although when WWE showed angles of the crowd, it didn't look like a lot of them were reacting. A lot of them were sitting down for most of the show. Definitely the lack of crowd heat hurt this show, in my opinion. For Sting and Triple H, I mean, I thought it was a very good segment. I thought it was well done, but the crowd didn't react to Sting all that much. And you literally had one fan in the crowd that was chanting WCW, WCW. And it was actually pretty embarrassing, I thought. And the fact that you have one person making noise and that stands out, that really did hurt the show. So I really don't know why this particular crowd was bad. I mean, that's just the risk you take. Sometimes you get good reactions, sometimes you don't. When you go to a place like Chicago or Philadelphia, you're almost guaranteed a strong crowd reaction. Memphis, it's a mixed bag. Sometimes the crowd is hot in Memphis, sometimes they're not. All right, this next one comes from Dame666-14024. Hey, Aaron from England. Do you think John Cena is protected too much? Also, I think he talks too much during his matches. Don't you agree? Keep up the good work. Well, Cena is still WWE's biggest star, and if it wasn't clear before, watching this show was definitely clear because, the crowd was dead for most of it, but when John Cena came out there, they sure did wake up. So say what you will about John Cena, but the crowd was still emotionally invested in him at this show. And, he was the most over person on this show, arguably. The crowd really was into him, and the people that didn't like him, they were vocal. People were making noise during John Cena's match. So, if WWE continues to push John Cena, people are going to continue to react to him. As long as they react to him, WWE will continue to protect him. He's still a good investment. He's still making the company a lot of money. And as far as him talking too much, there's even a segment on Botchamania dedicated to John Cena calling out spots during matches. And, I think with this crowd, too, the fact that they were quieter than most crowds, even though they were into this match, you could still hear Cena calling spots. So, I think at one point the announcers even tried to cover it up and say that Cena talks to himself during matches. He was getting beat up so badly, he was talking to himself. So, I think the announcers and, people in WWE are aware of it, that the people are noticing it, and, they tried to acknowledge it and cover it up or whatever. But yeah, that might be something Cena wants to work on, or maybe they need to change the way the ring is mic'd when Cena's out there. I don't know. Got this question here from Yami Bakura 1990. Do you think we will ever see David Benoit debut in WWE NXT in the future? And do you think the audience will ever be ready for the Benoit name again? Probably not. I think even if David Benoit became really good and had a lot of talent, I don't think WWE would pick him up because of the fact that he's a Benoit. I mean, David Benoit will probably never get a real opportunity in WWE or in a high-profile situation because of the name. That really sucks for him, but I don't know what else he can do. He can change the name, but people out there still will know that he's Chris Benoit's son. It'll still get out there. It's going to be really difficult for him to ever become any kind of name in the wrestling business. Even if he changes his look, even if he changes his name, it's probably not going to happen. And back to Fastlane here from CPW 1978. Was it a surprise that Goldust beat Stardust? And if the Rhodes brothers play out the feud right, do you see it culminating with helping to put Cody over in the long run? Does Cody have potential to continue climbing the ladder? Well, I definitely think the idea here is to elevate Cody Rhodes in the end. I mean, this whole storyline is built around him, and Goldust did win the match. I really like the storyline. I think the storyline is interesting. Once again, the crowd just wasn't into this match all that much, and I don't know what happened with the finish. It looked botched. The referee didn't count 3, and it looked like a botch. And I think that hurt a little bit. But overall, I like the story, and I really like what Stardust did in the backstage segment with Dusty Rhodes and getting in his face. And it definitely seems like there's going to be more to this feud, and maybe at WrestleMania we'll see them go at it one more time, and Cody will come out looking strong. He'll be able to go back to being Cody Rhodes, and it'll be the beginning of a new push for him. So I'm just hoping, these guys have a match again at WrestleMania, and I hope that the crowd, is into the match, and it helps elevate Cody in the end. I mean, that really should be the goal with this feud. I mean, Cody still has a good future. Goldust, he's done really well with his comeback, but let's face it, his best days are behind him. Cody really needs to come out of this feud looking strong and being able to go back on his own and have some credibility. All right, this one comes from Mario Warfare 24. Greetings. Do you feel the promo between Sting and Triple H was a little weak? Seems Triple H was the only one talking. Why did WWE not let Sting talk? It would have made it more interesting. What do you think? I believe that the idea is to play off of Sting's character in WCW when he was feuding with the NWO and he never said anything. WCW was able to get that character over without Sting saying one word. Maybe that's WWE's attitude here, is to not have Sting talk, and it's better to have him be as close to that WCW character when Sting was at his peak of his career when he wasn't talking at all. I think that's WWE's mentality, and I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I wasn't really expecting Sting to say much, and sometimes less is better. And I think in this case, they got the point across. Triple H ripped into Sting. Sting just stared a hole right in him. He didn't need to talk. I mean, he made it clear his intentions. And Sting brought out the bat, pointed at the WrestleMania sign. They got the point across. They set up the match without Sting having to say a word. So, I felt it was fine. I really did enjoy this segment. And there's always a time when Sting can talk. But if it's not necessary, why do it, I mean, sometimes, like I said, less is more. All right, this one comes from Big J the Great. How did you feel about Tyson Kidd and Cesaro finally winning the tag team titles? I like these guys as a team, and it will make the tag division more interesting. Your thoughts? I'm very happy for them. I'm glad that Cesaro and Kidd are getting the tag team titles. I was definitely a bit surprised by it, though. I figured the Usos would win. The Usos just won the tag team titles not too long ago, and I figured with Rikishi going into the Hall of Fame, the Usos would be inducting their dad as tag team champions. But, this was a nice surprise. I think if any team deserves to be tag team champions, it's Cesaro and Kidd. And once again, this was a very good match. Maybe not a great match, but a good match. Once again, the lack of crowd heat hurt it. definitely. And that was a disappointment. You figure with Cesaro in there, the crowd would have been more into it. But yeah, these two teams going at it at WrestleMania in a rematch. I think that should be really good, and I'm just hopeful, that we'll have a better crowd in Santa Clara. All right, this one comes from Nathan Drenchin. Hey Aaron, longtime viewer. I am going to Extreme Rules this year in Chicago, and I was wondering, what is your prediction for 2015's show? P.S. I'm going to make a no DQ poster, so watch out for that. Well, thank you. I'm guessing we'll see some WrestleMania rematches. It's interesting because WrestleMania right now is looking like it's going to be a lot of rematches from Fastlane. But with Extreme Rules, traditionally, most of the matches end up being rematches from WrestleMania. So, I would expect, something like that. Maybe, if Lesnar stays with the company, they could do Lesnar versus Reigns in a rematch. There's a lot of different things that they can do. Maybe Reigns versus Bryan one more time. I mean, who knows? There's a lot of different ways they can go with it. Seth Rollins, if he cashes in Money in the Bank, or something along those lines. You could have Rollins versus Reigns. There's a lot of different things WWE could do. So it is hard to predict right now, but I'm guessing you'll at least get 2 or 3 rematches from Mania. All right, this one comes from Merman1. Do you feel that they overdo the whole kicking out of each other's finishes thing way too much? What's the point of calling moves finishers if it rarely actually finishes the match? I definitely feel they overdo it. Perfect example was Rusev versus Cena. When Cena hit the AA on Rusev and Rusev kicked out, the announcers tried to sell it like it was something big. But we've seen so many guys kick out of the AA in the past. It really didn't mean a whole lot. Now, on the other hand, in the main event, when Bryan did the running knee and Reigns kicked out of that, it meant a lot more because nobody has kicked out of that move before. It's not like every pay-per-view somebody kicks out of it. So I felt that came off a lot better and made Reigns look good or look strong, that he was able to kick out of that move. So I do think WWE overdoes the kicking out of finishers, especially when it comes to Cena. And last question here regarding Cena and Rusev from Hired Help. Hey Aaron, do you think that after the win he had against Cena via submission, that even though he will almost definitely lose to Cena at WrestleMania, Rusev will still able to be a top heel in WWE for years to come? I would like to say yes, but, with WrestleMania coming up, I'm almost 100% certain Cena's getting his win back. Where does Rusev go after that? They could continue to push him. Maybe Rusev can be a challenger for Roman Reigns and get a WWE title match. But after that, a year, 2 years from now, he will probably be reduced to your comedy mid-card heel or even turn face and be a comedy babyface. I see him going down the same route as Kozlov and the other mid-card heels, Viscera. It's just, I don't know if they're going to invest in him in the long term. I just don't see that happening. But for now, hopefully they can get some mileage out of him, after losing to John Cena, which, I would be absolutely shocked if that didn't happen at WrestleMania. All right, so that'll do it for this edition of No DQ&A video. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. Subscribe, YouTube.com/NoDQCAW, and I will see you guys next time for more No DQ&A video.